Welcome to MadCap Pulse, where documentation meets social collaboration. I want to start by showing you what this looks like. This is Pulse-enabled HTML5 output. And you'll notice right away that you are going to have, actually let me hit refresh here so that all the good stuff is going to show up. This is the user-added content that's going to appear below your topics. You're going to have a star system, and you'll notice there's also a community tab where people are going to be able to log in and register. So I just wanted you to get an idea of what this is going to look like before we get into the meat of the presentation. And I do want to begin the meat of the presentation with this quote. Engagement, not data. Our customers ask a question. We throw a canned web page at them or a data sheet or a banner ad. And what they want is a meaningful conversation. Well, whether you like it or not, your customers are finding that meaningful conversation in social media and in forums. So you provide the community. This is what Pulse is all about. I mean, you just have to think about for a second, like if you're like, I don't know, social engagement around my documentation, I'm not so sure why that's such a brilliant idea. Well, think about your behavior online. Well, before you make a purchase, you check out customer reviews. But if you find a time-saving technique that you've discovered, you want to spread the word so that other people know about it. Or if you're searching for one that you don't know of yet, you're going to turn to these social channels to find them, where people are sharing that kind of stuff. And when you can't find answers that you need in documentation, what do? You turn to an online community for help. Now, when you are providing that community, you're harnessing the power of social media to not only enhance the customer's experience, but to improve your documentation. You can monitor and interpret user activity. You can forge strong relationships between customers, employees, subject matter experts, and authors. And MadCap Pulse is the only social collaboration platform that enables technical authors and docs managers to create a complete social layer around their documentation in order to connect, collaborate, and share knowledge around any type of documentation being published. Now, MadCap Pulse is going to allow your users to create user profiles that include images and information on specific skills, knowledge, or expertise. You can join or create groups or communities in order to collaborate around particular document sets, discussions, individual topics, add comments, ask questions, upload files, search all of that user-added content, and add and search tags in order to find that content easily. You can rate topics using a star system, assign tasks to other users, and Pulse is also going to provide insight into how your documentation is being used by keeping track of everybody and what they're doing, and generating reports on all of that information as well. So I want to show you, first of all, the user roles. These are the 4 types of users that are going to be interacting in MadCap Pulse. We're going to start with the general public or unregistered user. This is any Joe Schmo that stumbles upon your system, and it is going to look like this to them. Okay? That's going to change as soon as this person registers with Pulse and becomes a basic user or customer. This is somebody who's set up an account, and they're able to share and interact with content. Now, someone who's been granted special permissions by the admin and can interact with content and other users in more ways than a basic user, we're calling an advanced user or employee. And finally, we have the admin. This is the person who runs the entire Pulse show and lords over the whole Pulse universe. So what we're going to do is check out Pulse from each point of view, the admin, the general public, the basic user, and the advanced user or employee, because they all can do different things within the Pulse environment. But first, I want to show you how we're going to enable Pulse from Flare 9. And Flare 9's ribbon and GoToMeeting are not, GoToWebinar are not best friends. So if you're not seeing it up there, that's why. But you head over to your target, and you enter all of your login credentials. And this is in the Community tab, Enable Pulse/Feedback Server. And then head over to the skin and make sure that this Community tab is clicked. And then you hit Build, and that's it. So the published HTML5 output looks like this. Now, the general public or unregistered user can only do a couple of things differently in the Pulse environment, and that is rate using a star system. They are going to be able to search user-added content down here. And that's pretty much it. They're going to be able to interact with your HTML5 output, which is what we're showing right here for demo purposes. In the same ways, actually. They're going to be able to search up here. They're going to be able to head over to the content. Nothing changes in that respect, but they will be able to see all of this user-added content. And that's great. I mean, you have to think about yeah, you're going to be offering socially enabled output, but not everybody is going to be participating and adding content. Don't undervalue the lurker, like how many times have you gone somewhere and just read comment after comment after comment without contributing everything, but you've still learned a whole lot. So this is going to be useful for people even who don't register within the Pulse system. Now, I want to go ahead and show you the registration process. It's super easy. You just click register. You head in, you enter your information. You're going to be getting an email with a confirmation. You click on it, and once you're confirmed, then you are a basic user or customer. And I've already set up a few accounts here, so I'm going to go ahead and log in as that basic user or customer. And all of a sudden, things change a little bit. I have a profile over here. I can edit my profile and put any picture I want right here. I can enter any information I want to fill this out a little bit. And I also have the option of being notified of all these different things. So anytime there's any activity that has anything to do with me or anything that I've posted, I can ask Pulse to let me know. Somebody answers a question, somebody likes something that I did, somebody mentions me, or my absolute positive favorite, I don't want any email at all, thank you very much. It's all up to you, and you get to set these notifications once you have that profile within Pulse. Now I want to show you something else that changes. You are now all of a sudden able to add to the conversation that's happening below the topics. And you're going to be able to comment, like, follow, tag. I'll show you all that in just a second. You're going to be able to share videos, images, and files, ask questions, post articles and tasks, and definitely hang out for a second because these are really cool features that I'll show you in just a bit. But first I want to show you how search changes once you've enabled Pulse. Yeah, you can go ahead. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go over to this main page, and I'm going to search color. Actually, it would help if I put it in the search field. So I search color, and this is the user-added information that mentions the word color. But what if I want to search the actual topics? Well, you go up here and search color. And what Pulse is going to do is break out not only everything in your help system that mentions the word color, but all of the user-added content is going to be here. Your community results are always going to be separate from your regular results. So this is just a really good feature. You probably have some docs managers saying, hey, I worked really hard on this stuff, and now I have people adding comments, and when people search for it, they're finding all the user-added content, and then where's my stuff? Well, your stuff is prominent. The community results are broken out, and you can click on them and check out the results there. So what I'm going to do now is log out and then log back in. We're going to take it up a level so we can navigate Pulse from the perspective of an advanced user or employee. This is so I can show you the scope of activity one can participate in within Pulse. I'm just going to log out, go to the Community tab where all your community activity will happen. I'm going to log back in as that advanced user. Now, the advanced user or employee could have originated as a basic user and then been granted special permission by the Pulse admin. But let me just log in here. Or they could have been invited as an advanced user by the admin, because the Pulse admin can create and invite accounts for all user types. Now we're calling it an employee, but this could be an employee or a subject matter expert or a client. This is whoever your admin decides to give this designation and grant these permissions to. So logged in as an advanced user, wow, has my community tab totally been filled out here. These are what we call apps within Pulse. And you have the option of customizing your community tab. It's kind of like your control panel so that you can see what activity you care about. If you don't care about what videos you've uploaded or most recent news, just get rid of them, and then they disappear from your community tab. But for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to make sure everything shows up there because there's a lot of really good stuff to see. Now, you're going to be able to edit your profile just like a basic user, and your notifications. But you're also going to be able to see most recent activity. Anything that happens recently will pop in here. Any messages you've received are going to live here. And the way messages work, head on into content, and just find somebody and hover over their name. Now, in Alon's case, he's provided his email address, so I'm going to be able to go in and click this to send him an email. Hi, Outlook. Bye, Outlook. And I can also hover here and send him a message. And the message box is going to appear down here. So I can just start typing something to Alon, hit enter, and it becomes an instant message situation if he's logged into Pulse the same time I am. If he's not logged into Pulse the same time I am, he's going to be able to go into his Messages tab, see that conversation, and continue it if he feels like it, because all of that activity is going to live here. If someone sent me a message and I wasn't logged into Pulse, I'm going to be able to find it here as well. Notifications are just kind of a brief way. If you're in Pulse all the time, you don't want to deal with all these, just make sure the notifications button appears on your community tab. And you can sort through all activity, comments, answers, invites, tasks. All of these things I'll show you how to do in just a sec. So tasks, this is cool. Head on over to content, and we're going to pick the green topic, and I'm going to assign someone a task. The way this works is I can name the task, and then I can describe it now, and then I assign it to someone. And I want to assign it to Francis. So Francis is going to get this task. I think I want to tag it so that it's easier to find. And I think I want to make him finish it tomorrow. And I think it's super crazy important. And then I can send it to him. When he's done reading this now, he can go in and say, totally completed. And then I'll know that what I told him to do is done, and I'll be a happy person. So again, that's going to live in tasks. Any tasks you've assigned or been assigned to you are here. Mentions, these work the exact same way as in Facebook or Twitter. At, start typing. Okay. Let's go to topic and see if we can make that work. Here we go. This should populate beautifully here. You know, or not, because we're working on a dev build here. So sometimes these things are running a little bit slow. So you're going to have to excuse me if things don't populate the way they should on this demo. But you get the idea. And if somebody mentions you, it's going to happen here. All right. This is what a mention looks like. Add Jennifer employee, and then it just pops up right there within the status. Images and videos, these work much the same way. You head on into a topic, and they're part of a status. Actually, I think I want to go to blue, because I think that's where some cool stuff lives. Yes, okay. So I want to add a video or a picture as part of my status. So I will write a status and then share video. I'm able to grab that right there off of my computer. Same with an image. And I'll show you file in just a moment, because there are a lot of really neat features associated with that I want to explain at length. So when you post a picture, bam, it looks like this. And you can comment, like it, you can tag it, you can share it with someone. And when you post a video, it lives right there. And those are my dogs. That's Louie and Olive, my Maltese and a Chiweenie. And images, videos is the same stuff. Whatever you upload, you're going to be able to manage in these tabs. Top news lives here. Anything that's happened, recently that gets a lot of activity. Read it later. Pretty self-explanatory, but also really handy. You're in your system. There's something you want to look at, and you don't have time to do it right now. You just bookmark it, and then when you go back in your community tab, everything you bookmark is going to live here, and you can check it out anytime you like. Links are also pretty fun within Pulse, because it's a lot like when you add a link on Facebook. So I've added that, and all of a sudden we get a blurb here if it's available, some photos if they're available. You can choose which one you'd like to add, and I picked tomatoes and knives. And it shows up right here as a link that people are able to click and visit, comment, like, and follow tag, just like a regular status. All right, files. Let's get into files, because this is such a versatile product, Pulse, that I just want you to kind of open your brain up a little bit and think about how you can use files. Right here on our landing page is our colors help system, HTML5. oh, look what I've done. I've uploaded the PDF. So the PDF is here, and I can pull that up if I feel like it. All it took to add that is to go into Status, click Share File. I can link to a file, upload a local file, grab it, and it's uploaded, and this is where it lives. I mean, think about having a contributor file that lives below this topic so people can contribute and then update. And oh yeah, they can update. If you head to your community tab, go into files, and you can click on the file that you've added. You get a lot of history on the file. You can download the latest version. You can update it. You can tag it if you desire. And then you can comment on your file that you've uploaded. And you can check out the history of the file that you've put into Pulse. So it's a really great feature, and there are all kinds of cool ways to play around with it to make sure that your content is updated and current. Questions happen in these formats here. A question, and then these are the answers. Let me show how it works. First of all, if I start asking a question, I can see, look, all of a sudden things populate. If the question has been added before, all I have to do is click on it to go find out what people said about it. So the same questions aren't going to be asked this, over and over and over again. So this is just another convenient way for people to find information that people have already added to Pulse. But if I want to start my own question, I can share it. And when it shows up down here in the community feed, it shows up with an answer box. So I can answer the question. And once it's answered, I'm able to vote on the question, whether or not that's a great answer or a terrible, horrible, no good, disgusting answer. And if there are a ton of answers to this question, Pulse is going to make the answer with the most votes rise to the top of the feed below the question. So only the most helpful information is going to be visible first. Also in the community tab, you can check out any articles that you've added. This is what an article looks like in the user-added content. And the way those work is you click article, and you're able to format content. Just like in Word or Flare, if you will. And so you can share that, and it's going to appear here and just have a different look than a regular status will. Now, as far as lists, this is great because you can take all of these topics and you can sort them into whatever list you'd like. You click the heart for favorites. I've created a couple lists here, least favorite colors and favorite colors. I absolutely detest yellow, so it is a least favorite color. So when I head to my community tab and I click on least favorite colors, I've got orange, which is also horrible, and yellow activity here as well. So however you'd like to sort that information, it's going to live in your community tab, and you can visit these lists as often as you like and check out all the updates. So now what I'm going to do is log out and log back in as an admin. All right, because I want to show you what an admin's experience is like within Pulse. So just a moment. Now, the admin's experience is going to be much the same as far as within the published help system as the advanced user or employee. You're going to have the same community tab with the same options, the same profile options. And then over here within the content, the same options as well. Oh, something I didn't show you when I was showing you the advanced user is my feed. This is another great feature where you're able to see all the activity that you've participated in, and then you can delete your own activity as well. So your advanced user is going to have these options too. This also allows you to search everything you've added, and this is going to suggest people for you to check out. Jose looks interesting. Let me view everything he's posted. So this is another way Pulse helps you find people that have made comments or added content that's similar to something that you've done. So you're going to be able to connect with people really easily by seeing people have the same interests. Now, going back over here, I also want to show you, before we head over to the server side of things, that you can invite people to come and participate in this conversation. And you can do this as an advanced user too. And in just a bit, I'll show you a chart that gives you every single permission that every single level of user has within Pulse. But if you want somebody, let's say I think that Dave is going to be really excited to talk about Orange, so I can send him an invite, and he'll get an email that says, Jennifer wants you to come and hang out and talk about how great Orange is, and he can come over and participate in this conversation. Alrighty, so now let's head over to the server so I can show you a couple of great features, the groups and the reports. Now, under administration, go to reports, and this is everything that Pulse is tracking. This is everything from browser statistics, user activity, most liked activities, most commented file shares, storage usage. I mean, just about anything you can think of that can be tracked by Pulse is being tracked by Pulse. A couple of my favorite search phrases. What are people searching for in your system? And you can make these graphs look like anything you want. And I choose donuts because donuts are delicious. I mean, just whatever you want it to look like. You can also enable a date filter, so you can filter things out, according to a span of dates. And you're going to be able to export all of these charts and reports as well. Now, in addition to search phrases with no results is also a great one, because it's a good idea to know what people want to find in your system and they're not finding. This is super, super helpful. Now, this is going to be helpful, this timeline. As an admin, if there's any activity that happens on your system, you can go in and delete it. Just to demonstrate that, I'm going to head back over here. This is just me logged in as an admin. I'm going to go over to green, see what's happening. Oh my gosh, this is such an inappropriate question. I disagree with it. So I am deleting it. And it's gone. It's just that easy. Your activity timeline lets you check out activity in the past week, month, and year, so that as the admin or overlord of Pulse, you're able to see everything that's happening and keep an eye on all the activity within your system. Now, groups are a cool way to go behind the scenes, kind of, sort of. You're still within Pulse, but these are topics that aren't topics, really. You'll notice that this user has added content is connected to a topic in Flare. All right? But when you head on over to groups, this is a way to start a discussion that might not be connected in any way, or maybe just a loose way to something that's going on in your system. This is also a great way to have people come and collaborate around a topic or around a particular file. You get the same functionality as far as adding statuses, questions, tasks, all of that, as you do over in your published help. But when you create a group, you can choose to make it public or private. Can people find this content or no? If you make it private, this is a wonderful place to kind of test out material or collaborate on material that's not quite ready for prime time or not quite ready to be outward-facing, if you will. So you can invite people to come and participate, and then they can come be a part of this group and be a part of this private conversation. Or public, if that's what you choose to make it. But again, a really versatile feature. So just look at this with a big, wide-open brain and think about all the ways you can use this with your subject matter experts, with your staff. This is just a great way to have people collaborate on something that's not published yet. Or just a great way to create groups for people to talk about whatever. Another way to do that, and this is something that our customers kind of turned us on to, because like I said, very versatile. We're having people create topics in Flare that exist only for conversation, without any kind of documentation up here, any kind of real content. They're just making a topic in Flare that's a landing page for discussion. Like, okay, I want people to do bug reports, but I don't want it to happen in my topics. I'll just create a bug report topic, maybe put a couple of rules up here, and then let people go to town. Let's say we want people to come here and we're having some kind of a contest or some kind of information that's only going to appear briefly that we want people's opinion on. Well, you create a special topic for it in Flare. It's going to be enabled with the Pulse system, so you're going to have this community discussion below it. And then when you're ready for that content to go away, you just take it out of your table of contents in Flare, and it's going to disappear. And that's that. So again, versatility. This has it. You know, people are getting really creative with how they're using Pulse. And and we're really excited to see how everybody's taking this and playing around with it. And we definitely encourage you to download the trial at madcapsoftware.com. So now that we've looked at Pulse through the eyes of all 4 of these user types, all right, I want to give you a breakdown of what everybody's able to do within Pulse. So the general public, this is an unregistered Pulse user, is able to read comments, search comments, see ratings and interactions, rate topics as well. Basic user or customer can do all of that and then also start adding and playing around with content and create a profile and notification preferences. Post statuses, questions, articles, comment, like, follow, and tag user content, upload files, photos, and videos, subscribe to topics, delete and edit their own content, assign tasks, and then like and dislike and vote on answers to questions as well. The advanced user or employee, this is someone the admin designates as having special privileges within Pulse, can designate topics as favorites, mention and message other users, filter and view files, images, etc., and create and access groups as well. And then we have the admin, who can delete anything added by other users, have access to those server settings, and have access to reports as well. So, as you've seen, with MadCap Pulse, authors can maximize the value of social networking, not only to enhance the quality of the documentation, but to improve engagement from customers and build communities and foster the sharing of information. So on behalf of MadCap Software, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to meet MadCap Pulse. And at this time, I'll take any questions that you have, so feel free to type them in, and we are good to go. Let's see here. Questions, questions, questions. Just a moment, and we'll get into that. Okay. Now, this says that different roles seem to control how users can interact with the content. Is there a way to actually secure access to the documentation or contents tab? Okay, well, access to the HTML5 or web help output compiled in Flare is configured on your web server. Flare compiles all the pages. Pulse enables the community. Your network serves the pages from your web server, and that's where all the authentication for specific access to output can be configured. It's right there from Flare. Is this HTML5 output only? What about web help? This is supported by web help and web help 2.0, HTML5. Both of those kinds of output generated from Flare 9. Do you have an example of a page with Pulse enabled, but that does not have any user-added content? All of Flare version 9's web help and our online knowledge base, totally Pulse enabled. Now, since our knowledge base is gigantic, there are some topics there that don't yet have any community-added content. So you can check that out, webhelp.madcapsoftware.com. And you know what, I can actually show you what a topic looks like. This is just a topic we added. There is no user-added content added yet. This is just what it looks like. All right, so just imagine this as being one of your topics generated from Flare, and there's just nothing below it. You're just going to see this here. All right, and it's going to be always living at the bottom of your published documentation. All right, let's see what else we have. Can I limit user registration to email addresses with a specific domain? Not in the registration process. You can invite a specific set of users to come participate, and as the admin, you can block users and decide not to allow certain users to participate as well. All right, from Stephanie, can I use Pulse to secure all of my documentation from everyone except registered users? No, this is controlled from the server hosting the pages. Will the admin be able to see what users are accessing your file? Lots of reports identifying activity from users available from the Pulse administrators. So yeah, when we head back over here into the settings, into the reports pages, yeah, we can check out most liked, most commented file shares, most liked file shares, and this includes people who are clicking on them and checking them out. All right. Does the person you assign a task to have to be a registered user, or can you just enter an email address? Got to be a registered user. You have to be a registered user in order to receive a task or complete a task and indicate that you've completed it. Is there currently a way to moderate comments as there was in feedback? Okay, yeah, MadCap feedback, the previous iteration of this system. Can you control whether or not a comment appears by approving or disapproving it? Pulse admin can view and delete all of the various forms of activity in the Pulse enabled output. No holding for moderation, but you're able to get rid of anything. Are there metrics around the tasks? For example, how can someone do reporting around completed tasks? Go to the task app that you filter over here in, here we go, tasks, and then you're going to be able to filter for assigned to, assigned by, and also upcoming and status as well when you have tasks that live here in your task app. Is there a summary of what different user profiles have access to? Yeah, that's right here. And this is also going to be available for you at madcapsoftware.com. All right. Where is the community content stored, and how does having community content affect revising or replacing the document content? It's all in the Pulse server database. This can be the same machine that's hosting the output from Flare or a remote machine, but this is not going to affect revising or replacing your documentation at all. All of the user-added content, the community content, is going to be existing separately from the output. And also, Pulse can be enabled or disabled at any point in time. Is there a fee for Pulse, the software and or hosting? But of course. Yes, we are a business. Yay. Yeah, Pulse pricing can be found at madcapsoftware.com, and you're going to be able to see various levels of Pulse pricing as well. So if you're envisioning you're going to have a really small system, of course, it's going to be a lower level of pricing. And if you have a very large system, you just go up incrementally from there. Is Flare required, or can you use Pulse with any HTML5 content? You need Flare version 9. And yes, Flare version 9 is out. It has been released, and I encourage you to check it out because there's lots of great new features within Flare 9. And you can, at madcapsoftware.com, get your free trial. And by the way, all of our free trials, they come with free tech support, which is genius. We're kind of legendary for our amazing tech support and customer service, if I may toot my own horn. So if you can, please, download the Pulse trial and download the Flare 9 trial and play around with it. Any questions you have, our tech support is here for you and free with your trial. Can I use this internally only before pushing out to the live public site? Yeah, it can be run locally or from a server. You just need to configure the environment and you're good to go. Absolutely. We've been doing both here at MadCap. Can social content be exported or archived? Yep, it's in the database. All the reports can be exported, and that is not going to be a problem. Does Pulse search attached files like PDFs? This would be configured as a functionality in your Flare target, but not on the Pulse server. Are there limits to the number of registered users that can sign up? Yeah, Pulse is subscription-based per user, so there's no limit. If you purchase a tier of Pulse and you get up to the limit in that tier, you can always upgrade to the next one without losing any content or any kind of functionality. All that's explained at madcapsoftware.com. Madcapsoftware.com has all the information about pricing, and you can get a user guide for Pulse, anything you need. Okay, is data mining available in an offline environment, or do you have to be in a browser? All of the tracking activity from end users is in their browser, so that would be required. Okay. Is posting revised content changed in some way because it's linked to community content? For example, you couldn't just change a topic name without impact. Now, you're probably asking this because it was an issue with feedback, but with Pulse, you can remap topics super easily to account for the changes in titles and files. It's not going to be a problem at all. And it looks like, actually, this is a really good question. Is there any relationship between Flare forums and Pulse? You know what, and let me go ahead and broaden that question. Forums, social media, you got your Facebook and your Twitter and your forums, and then maybe comments, that happen on your website. Pulse is a way to take all of that and just kind of smash them together so that, not only do you have the ability to comment, you have the ability to read other comments, you have comments and discussion that relates to your documentation. So this is just a great way to take everything, kind of mash it all together, so that you don't have a forum and then there's an answer that points people to your documentation. You have a forum in your documentation. So like I said, be creative with this. This is a really, really versatile application. So thanks again for checking out MadCap Pulse. And I want to remind you that Mad World is coming up really soon. Hard Rock Hotel San Diego, if there were any reason for you to harangue your boss to send you to a conference, it would be this one, because it's going to be super fun. It's in San Diego. And yeah, I'm totally going to be doing a Pulse and social media presentation there, because clearly you were so entertained by this one, you just can't wait for more. I'm Jennifer White with MadCap Software, toasting you with a margarita, apparently. And if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to. It's jwhite@madcapsoftware.com. MadCap Jennifer, you can follow me on Twitter. Lots of cool tips and tricks. I share lots of really great articles pertaining to TechCom and also my little tiny dogs. So thanks again. Any information, schedule a demo, head over to sales@madcapsoftware.com. And of course, madcapsoftware.com is a wealth of information. I encourage you to go ahead and download these trials, because as you can see, Pulse is super fun to play with and super fun to customize to your needs. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for your attention, and have a spectacular rest of your day.
The